This is Kate Baconsale. You're listening to Baconsale.
And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. Little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you coming home, son, I don't know when. But we'll get together then. Yeah, you know we'll have a good time then. Yeah, sorry, guys.
Sunrise, sunset. I was ready for some word swaps in there. Where's that at?
I can't word swap, but I'm getting emotional.
You shouldn't word swap that song anyways. That is a sacred song.
That's right. It's a sacred song. Welcome to Baconsale. I'm Joel.
I'm Kent.
And Jacob. Has Weird Al done that song?
No, I don't think he has, actually.
Once again, it's sacred.
Well, that's why I was going to prove it wrong, actually. But I guess maybe it is.
Nothing is sacred with Weird Al.
Exactly.
What?
I don't know.
But we want to thank you for your feedback that you gave us on our YouTube show. Hopefully you subscribed to some new channels. I did follow up with Kent, and he did actually subscribe to one of the channels I recommended. So.
And I watched Red and Link as well.
It's because I sent you guys like a dozen videos.
I've watched a bit of Red and Link. So thanks,
that
Joel.
montage, honestly, eating gross food in those videos, that really appeals to me for some reason.
I still have not gone to the montage, but but the Fallon clip was pretty great.
Yeah,
where
they're on the
he literally
show.
uses a scorpion as a chip to dip hummus.
But
it's disgusting.
They've eaten scorpions before.
No.
Okay. They've done a lot of that before. Actually,
he's like, no big deal. I'll just eat the scorpion. What?
And actually, Jacob, I was going to bring this up because I wanted to wait till the episode aired, but I actually watched their YouTube Red series, Buddy System, both seasons, and I was going to do a video review of that on Patreon. So
nice.
Look forward to that. On Patreon.
What a great segue,
Thank
Joel.
you. Because we want to give some shout outs today. We want to give a couple shout outs to 3 different people. So our first shout out here is to Autumn Gar.
Oh, it's Autumn.
Autumn.
Hey, Autumn.
She is my natural born enemy, actually. Did you know that?
Wow.
My former neighbor. We miss you in the neighborhood and hope you're doing well. And thanks for being a patron.
I like you, Autumn. I think you're great, but man, we're enemies. Do you remember like 2 years ago?
No,
we got
I
a
don't
big
know
fight
what you're
about
talking
Batman v
about.
Superman.
Oh, this sounds kind of familiar.
She may not remember this, but for some reason, I'm still holding on
Was
to
that
it.
at Lagoon?
No.
It
was on Facebook.
On
and social
Facebook.
media.
Okay.
All right. Next up, we have
Brandon Gehrig.
Yeah, there we go.
Gehrig. I think I said that right, Brandon. Thank you, Brandon.
Yeah, thank you.
Are you asking Brandon right now?
Brandon, did I say it right, Brandon? Well, there was somebody whose name was that. He's Scott Sprague, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to say it wrong.
Well, and the
I
Bass
felt really bad
family.
about that.
We
The Bass
eventually
family.
got that
Yeah,
right. And then finally this week we have Jill Reese, who I like to call Reese's Piece. Jill's,
you like to call, huh?
It's a pet name I have for her. This is true. I've met Jill before.
Reese's what?
Reese's Piece, like Reese's Pieces.
Yeah, but why is she Reese's Piece?
Because she's one. She's one person.
Reese's Piece, huh?
Can I not say that?
Joel, can we make this more awkward for him? Let's find a way. There's got to be a way.
There's got to be. But we really do appreciate your support. If you don't know what we're talking about, go to patreon.com/baconsale. You'll learn a lot more about how you can support Baconsale and help keep the lights on here in the Bacon Cave. And also, it's time, gentlemen. As you know, we had a deal that the first, anyone who signed up to be a patron before August 1st,
Yes.
would get a song for them. And I've decided it's time now to unleash this song upon the world. I've spent some time working on it. Not enough, obviously, because it's terrible.
Joel, would you like us to keep silence during this song?
If you could just mute your mics, that'd be good.
Okay, done and done.
But I also want to admit that I wanted to make the song a little special, so I may have done some light social media stalking.
Yeah, right.
A little bit.
Light.
Just so I could figure out a little bit about these people.
Special, huh?
Yes. And
Not
so
creepy, special.
I'm going to do this song now here on the episode so everyone gets to hear it, but then also we're going to release a downloadable version on Patreon so that you can just get the audio file and listen to the song over and over again.
And over and over.
I don't know why you would.
Kind of like that Rhett and Link song with the belly button that is now stuck in my head. Thank you, Joel.
Love that one.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's the worst.
So here we go. Here's the song for all the patrons that signed up before August 1st.
Oh, I'm so excited.
About to be immortalized in song, as they said. $70 lines, about 35 patrons. Zachary Western is a friend who helps at time when Jacob's gone. Scott Sprague studies stats and science at the School of Brigham Young. Mary Cox has many opinions about the sexiest men alive. Misty Peterson's cover photo is her lovely family of 5. I remember when I only had a family of 5. It was so much simpler then. Sean Sanquist likes water sports. He's a Cougar fan like me. Porter Evans likes Mormon memes, a special kind of blasphemy. Terry Finlay, she's so great although she won't watch Doctor Who. Casey Smith watched Jurassic World. His favorite raptor is named Blue. Doesn't matter what you name it, Casey. It's still going to eat you. Devin Hansen's never tweeted. 14 people follow him. Jordan Miller has spent some time at Rio Tinto Stadium. David Kelly's in real estate. He has a crush on Spencer Cox. The other Spencer has no last name, but it's okay. He still rocks. Seriously, which Spencer are you, Spencer? Adrian Gray, the listener. Let's see how long her reign will last. Greg Pascal enjoys new music. Go and check out his podcast. Ryan Farron and his wife wear merch they purchased from our store. Jeff Smith taught some Russian to some elders, helped them out the door. Говорите по-русски? Я знаю только фразу «Поцелуй меня сейчас». Jennifer Stoddard got the first button that said Podbash on the front. Rachel Carlson's friends with Abe, a Potterhead, an accountant. Spencer Larson hikes outdoors. He's ready for the apocalypse. Drew Cutler is a mystery. Who knows which accounts are his? I'm guessing Hopper, Simon West, Bent Bun, Roger Ebert's Corpse, and Jacob Rogers. Steve Hamilton likes gaming, thinks Nathan Drake could beat them all. Travis Shields supports the Dodgers. Kent, that's a team that plays baseball. Nicole D. Hill's a ghost assassin. She likes her Penguins and her Knights. Sean Purdy enjoys TV shows like The Simpsons and Last Week Tonight. I hear Sean's also friends with Front Row Joe at Cinemark. Remember him? Jordy Carroll has a beard that flows beneath his paintball mask. Kelsey Watts has a YouTube channel. She does painting with time-lapse. Nicole Yazzie says she's a nerd, and Zelda is her game of choice. Chris Anderson lurks on the web, and one day we may hear her voice. Or his voice. I'm not quite sure. I couldn't find a confirmed profile on that one. Sorry, Chris. Joshua Barton tried the creeping pinky, and he claims it did the trick. Stephen Ross shoots guns and likes to play with Nerf and Lego bricks. Angela Hammond's a Utah fan. Her pictures are all crimson red. Rachel Crump and her man Adam enjoy Jane Austen and Better Off Dead. Well, maybe Rachel likes those more. I don't think Adam has a Facebook account. In fact, I don't even think he knows he's a Baconsale patron. Well, I guess he does now. Alicia Bass knows all there is to know about the silhouette. Drew Kimball hangs with Chip and Dale. He is a dad and he's brunette. Steve Hansen has much to say about how all our views are skewed. To all these patrons, we want to give our heartfelt, sincere gratitude. 70 lines, about 35 patrons.
Woo! Yeah.
One take.
That's one take Hilton right there.
You want to do it a couple more times?
No, that was exhausting.
Unbelievable. I am so proud of you right now.
I am
don't
too.
know if it's for like the talking, the way you did it in one take, or the stalking.
There was a lot of stalking.
By the way,
stalking involved.
Roger Ebert's Corpse is not Drew.
It's not?
No, it's somebody else.
Oh,
But what about Jacob Rogers?
that's him.
That's unknown. Unknown at this time.
Honestly,
there you
Joel,
go.
thank you for doing that. I hope you patrons really enjoyed that.
And like we said, we'll pull that out. We'll have it downloadable so you can have just that part and don't have to listen to the entire episode. Because what are we talking about today, Jacob?
Me. Sort of.
Finally.
I feel bad. We've been on the air for 10 minutes already, and we haven't even acknowledged our guest.
Well, we're about to, aren't we?
We should. We're going to be talking about parenting, and who better to bring on to discuss parenting and to teach me the ways, the ropes, as it were. We have Abe Yospe.
Abe Yospe!
Thank you very much.
You
Good to be
remember
here, guys.
Abe?
Thank you, Abe.
You remember Abe from episode 52? of Baconsale back on April 2016. A conversation with a Twitter comedian.
Wow.
We were so much. That's the thing is we like to bring our guests on once every 2 years. I think is what it is.
Is that kind of the average?
That seems like it.
Well, here's the thing. I think we're bringing Abe back on because, well, we've had a lot of guests over the years, and none of them, after being on our show, listen to the show. Abe, I wish I had an award for you. I'm going to make you a diploma or something because you were the only guest who actually listens to the show.
I can't believe that.
I can't. If that's true, actually.
Well, it's more like he's the only one that listens and interacts because some of the other guests may listen, but just not.
No, I'm calling him out right now.
Well, what about Emily?
That's true.
Yeah.
No, Emily doesn't listen. She doesn't listen anymore.
She doesn't?
No.
Seems like she
just
does.
you, Abe.
I'm honored.
If any guests are out there who are listening, let us know that you're still listening by commenting on Facebook and Twitter. Actually, Nerdy Blackbird still.
Oh, that's true.
She likes things on Facebook, on Instagram.
Yeah, give her time. That was like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Give her time to, we'll soil it for her. Yeah.
So, yes, Abe, we appreciate you listening to our show, and we appreciate you agreeing to come back on and to submit yourself to the bioscanners to get here in the Bacon Cave.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yep.
Yeah.
By the way,
We know it was awkward.
You signed the NDA. Please do not talk about this place afterwards.
Yeah. And sorry we had to do the chemical test on your hands and feet. That was weird for all of us, but it's
The
necessary.
chemical test was just a little rub that you did on his feet, right?
Yeah, but it was for science.
I don't know why we're wasting time with
Science
this.
and safety.
Let's move on.
Because we brought Abe in today because, as we mentioned on the previous episode, Jacob is a brand new dad. Congratulations, Jacob.
Yay.
How's that going, by the way?
It is so fun, honestly.
What's
it's
the
delightful.
weirdest thing about being a dad that you didn't expect? Is there something that comes to mind?
Oh my gosh. So a friend of mine said this to me he said, it might be a little too soon, but tell me, does it feel like she's just always been in your family? And I'd never heard that before, but apparently it's like a thing people say. And I was like, whoa, like that's weird. Like I had that experience. It was like, whoa, she's like always been here. Mm-hmm. How did that happen? Like she's not even been alive 3 weeks yet. So I'm not sure how that came about, but
yeah. But congratulations on being a dad, and get ready because there's a lot that's going to happen. And
it's going to be real easy.
I think we're going to help you out. We're going to give you a leg up, and that's why we brought Abe in because, well, he's kind of like a professional dad.
Yeah.
Can we say?
Well,
Abe, can I say that?
He's an award-winning parenting tweeter.
Hold
You
on.
can say that.
Yeah.
I think that's actually what it says on his title. Like, the one he's got above his bed at home. Yeah.
But for those, I was going to say, for those that didn't listen to the conversation with the Twitter comedian, Abe, you want to just introduce yourself real briefly?
Sure. I'm Abe. I'm a principal. This is my first year being a principal.
Yeah.
I grew this handlebar mustache for
Looks
this
very nice.
occasion.
It's really handsome, by
It
the way.
really is.
Thank you.
Well, and
We're just all jealous of your
when we
manhood.
had Abe back on back 2 years ago. He only had 27 followers, and now he's currently 27,000 followers back then, and now he has over 35,000.
I thought you were going to say we were to credit for his 27
That's
to
what I thought.
35,000.
Well, it's because of his appearance, I think, on
Sure.
here. That did it.
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to follow up on something because last time you were on the show, Abe, you mentioned that you did not have a cell phone, but that if you ever became a principal, they would force you to have one.
Yes. I have a Samsung. I tried.
That's 4?
I don't know what it's
For just wondering, like 2012.
But
That's for
you
a
have a
thing?
cell phone now.
Yes,
You've given
yes.
into that digital age.
Yeah.
But you don't know what it is yet, though.
No, I
just
don't.
it's a Samsung.
Like I went to the store. I'm like, I want a phone.
No, this one's $2,000.
He didn't
Take
even go
this
to the
one.
counter. He just stood there in the middle of Best Buy, just like, bring me a phone.
I thought that's how you did it. I thought that's how it worked.
Exactly. How is it, though, having a phone now?
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah?
People try to get a hold of me all the time.
I think that's what you said last time. Like, why don't you have a phone? Because then people would call me, is what you said. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. But so we bring you in here because your tweets have literally won awards from various institutions, correct?
Right. Yes.
So Huffington Post was one I remember gave you an award.
Right.
Yeah, brag a little bit.
Well, there's Huffington Post, Babbel. I've received Babbel's, which is like Disney's version of their parenting site.
Nice.
So Disney owns it. I'm always on their list of best, but mostly Huffington Post. Yeah.
Yeah. And they do it fairly regularly. He appears on these tweets, and I see because he retweets them and says, hey, I'm on this. So it's always cool to see.
Yeah.
And so he's brought some of his award-winning tweets along with some tips for Jacob here. So it's going to be a lot of us kind of just throwing advice.
We'll
at you,
try
Jacob.
not to make it too cheesy because being all parents, we don't want to, leave anyone out. We want to make it as funny as possible.
We do, but also we know that SEO wise, parenting podcasts get a lot of listens.
Which is why we're here to announce that Baconsale is now a parenting podcast.
Totally, that's what we're doing
right.
from here on out.
Yeah.
That's why we had
Actually, true crime parenting podcast.
True
Crime. Oh man.
Together, true crime
I was going to say, the
This
people that
is
tuned
messed
into
up.
this episode because they saw parenting on it are going to listen to the first 10 minutes and be like, they haven't even got to parenting yet.
Right. But your song, though.
But you have a song, yeah.
Well, they're not going to be entertained by that.
Yes, they will.
But let's get to our tips.
I
shall
didn't
we?
even know that there are parenting podcasts.
Oh, there's a ton out there.
Yeah, it's a
Mommy
thing,
bloggers.
yeah.
Oh, questions.
Okay, here's the thing. Abe, you were here a couple years back, and we had a few Versus shows back then, so we asked you some of the questions, and I think some random ones as well.
Yes, there were some that we don't include anymore. Now we have an official list that we ask our guests whenever they come
So,
on.
Joel, we've taken our time getting here, but could you ask the first few pretty quick? But I want to make sure Abe gets the total treatment here.
All right, so here's the lightning round of questions.
Nice.
So once again, even if you don't have an opinion, feel free to give an answer.
Okay.
Just like politics.
I'm
All
ready.
right.
I'm ready.
Which is better, Karate Kid 1 or Karate Kid 2?
Okay, so in Karate Kid 2, that's the one where they chop the big giant piece of wood in half with one karate chop to save a guy's life, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Karate Kid 2.
Which is worse, Star Wars Episode 1 or Star Wars Episode 2?
Oh my goodness. 2 is the one with the scene with the sand.
Yes.
Yeah, 2.
All right, there we go.
Okay.
They also chop the sand in half to save somebody. Do you rate your movies using stars or letter grades?
I go stars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is the more America movie, Rocky 4 or Independence Day?
Did you do that one last time?
I think I did. I think
Okay.
I said Rocky 4 because of the boxers.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
There
the
are
flag
boxers.
Oh, right, yeah, the America Boxer.
The boxer,
Yeah.
the boxer
Yeah.
shorts or the boxer fighters?
The shorts.
Okay, just
the
making sure.
shorts. Yeah, the boxer shorts. There's no boxer shorts in Independence Day, right?
Actually,
when Will Smith walks out and
in
they
the
see
morning,
the
yeah.
UFO, but they don't have the flag on them. It's actually communist China.
Man, they should have.
Yeah.
Is Nightmare Before Christmas a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie?
Halloween.
Yeah, good
Okay.
question.
Buffy or X-Files?
Oh, I never watched Buffy.
So X-Files?
Yeah, X-Files. When I hear your Buffy episodes, I kind of fast forward. I have no idea what
Abe,
you're
I'm going
talking
to take
about.
back that piece of paper.
Lord of the Rings or Star Wars?
I'm a Lord of the Rings all the way.
Which movie is more Christmassy, Die Hard or Lethal Weapon?
I also never, this is crazy, I've never watched Lethal Weapon.
Really?
Never.
Oh, wow.
So good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
you're
when you were
missing out.
talking about the,
Martin Riggs.
Martin Riggs, I had no idea who you were talking
He
about.
made it really
Pretty far,
far in the
yeah.
bracket, too.
Way too far.
Did he?
So you're going to say Die Hard?
Die Hard.
Okay.
Maybe he did. I don't know.
Phantom of the Opera or Les Miserables?
Ooh, I just went and saw Les Miserables done by a bunch of 12-year-olds. It was terrible.
Yeah, but not that version.
Yeah, go with that version.
12-year-olds.
I think the music's better in Les Mis.
Okay.
probably. Yeah.
And then finally, Labyrinth or Neverending Story?
I was a huge Neverending Story fan. Huge.
It's
I
a good
think
movie. But I think you're definitely siding with Kent on these.
On most of them. Thank
Most.
you, Abe.
I
You
think
will be
last
back
time.
in
Minus
2
Buffy.
years and about 4 months.
Yeah.
That makes
Yes.
us think you might like Buffy because those are all Kent's sides
gotta
on
try
everything
it.
else. Yeah.
It's actually pretty good. I'm not against it, but
No,
yeah.
all good.
I mean, if you want to go back to 1997 and watch a show, I guess.
Take it easy.
I'm just saying, that's just a long time ago.
Judging us over here.
Hating.
How's Gallivant treating you?
Oh. All right. So, Abe, let's jump into it. Give us the first tweets or advice or however you want to formulate this.
Okay, so here's the first tweet, and then I'll tell you the tip that
Okay.
goes with the tweet.
Say that 10 times fast.
Yes.
Tip with the tweet. Yeah.
This is going to be harder than I thought. So here's the first parenting tip. Sometimes I say, nice job to my kids, when really they just did an adequate job.
That's actually very true to parenting. Yeah.
You mean like putting bad pictures up on the fridge that they drew and you're like, yeah. Okay, good job.
Oh, you say it all the time,
Yeah.
don't you?
So, and that's
So what's the principle behind
what's
this?
the principle?
Oh, yes.
Principle.
Build up your kids' confidence, Jake.
By lying to them?
Yes.
That's good.
So lie to my children. Okay, hold on. Let me get my notebook.
Well, and
Lie to my children.
It's
Got
not
it.
a lie. It's just, kind of inflating the truth, maybe. Because you say, oh, great job, bud. Because for them, it's a good job, even if it's, not the greatest drawing in the world. But I actually had a coworker one time who I was sitting next to him. We were giving feedback to another coworker.
Mm-hmm.
And I said something like, you did good work here. Let's work on this and this and this. And then they went out. And then the person I was with turned to me and said, why did you tell them they did good? That work was horrendous. That work was not any good at all.
I know who you're imitating.
And I went, well, I was telling him it was good. I didn't tell him it was great. It's like, I get it. So good isn't necessarily good. And I'm like, okay, we'll go with that.
You're like,
because-
okay.
It's a
You're
compliment
crazy.
sandwich, right?
Well, it's that more, you compliment sandwich. You put some praise at the beginning, then some constructive criticism, then you end with some praise, and people walk out feeling good and like they want to change instead of saying like, this is horrible, this is horrendous, and then they just don't want to care.
Well, it's just kind
anymore.
of psychology, right?
And maybe just Abe, as a little bit of background, you have sons, right? You
Yes,
have
I
three
got
sons.
3 sons.
Yes.
What are the age ranges?
Oh, so I have a 7-year-old,
Okay.
a 12-year-old, and a 16-year-old. The
Wow.
idea behind it was to have a kid every 6 years, spread them out,
Wow.
and then they would get along beautifully. But that did not turn out the way.
go well.
Wait, was
no.
this the plan for real?
Yeah, it really was. We thought they'd just be like caretakers for each
Yeah.
other. They'd watch over each other. They could babysit. The older ones could babysit the younger
That,
ones.
that seems logical. Why
You're
didn't that
like
work?
you're the anti-Joel, I think. Every
Yeah.
6 months, which is weird.
Yeah. How does she do it? We don't know.
Works, but
So that was the plan. But we have a middle kid that threw a
Okay,
wrench
right.
into that plan, because you'll learn each of your kids are unique,
yes.
and sometimes your plans don't go as well as you thought, because he's not the easiest to get along with.
Hopefully he doesn't listen.
Yeah.
Well,
Sometimes.
You bring up a good point, though. It is like each kid is unique, because one of my kids I could talk to and I could really dig into and just be like, how dare you? Why would you do this? You can't, da 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 da. And they'll just be like, sorry, and then they're fine. Whereas I give one of my daughters a look and she'll just burst into tears. Like I wouldn't have to do anything, so I had to be very kind of gentle with her. Whereas my son, I just dig into sometimes.
But then you say, good job. Good job.
Good job.
Pat on the
Yeah,
head.
yeah. After that, so
And if you have kids that play sports, I've read this in many places. The only thing that you're supposed to tell them after a game, after they play a game and you've watched, is I really enjoy watching you play. You're not supposed to give them any feedback at all.
Where'd you
positive or-
hear that?
This is like in parenting magazines.
But
I've
why?
read.
Why can't you say, "Hey, you did good here, you did good there"? Like, why do you say, "I really enjoyed
Well,
watching
that makes
you"?
sense, actually.
You're
because
not,
Ken
you're not
says that's-
lying.
then they
Ken
think you're not going to approve of them unless they do good every time.
I guess, but at
Right?
the same time,
Yeah.
Ken says that to every one of his dates. Is I enjoyed watching you, and they just get creeped out.
Before this date.
It's worked really well for
Actually,
him.
I saw a movie a couple of years ago that really taught me a parenting method. That
You're Whiplash, aren't
it's
you?
Whiplash.
Yeah.
You knew I was going
I
there.
knew you were going there.
The good job are the 2 worst words in the English language.
The most destructive words in the
Yes.
English language are "good job."
I'm J.K. Simmons as a parent.
He's a villain in that movie. Ken.
Is he, Joel?
Yes,
Is he?
unabashedly, undoubtedly, yes.
All right, what do we got next?
All right, parenting tip number 2. I always yell, "I will turn this car around," when I have to do a U-turn. Every time I do a U-turn.
Hey, at least
I
you
will
fulfilled
turn
on
the-
the threat, right?
Right, yes.
Yeah.
So
No.
that's the tip. Empty threats never work. Follow
Yes.
through.
Yeah.
And it's true. Now I do want to ask a question. Have you guys ever, 1, threatened, "I will turn this car around," or 2, actually turned the car around because the kids have been bad?
I did it yesterday.
Yeah,
She just, she just would not listen.
See, I say that, but I always give them like 7 chances. Sometimes I don't say turn around. I'll just say I'm going to pull over. And I say it in a stern voice, like, I'm going to pull over. And then one of them starts crying. And then,
I'm going to pull over, or I'm in a pullover.
yes.
Yeah.
Or I'm getting pulled over.
Yeah, that too.
Is that it?
That actually is like really good advice, though. And it's my dad brought this book up to our attention. It's called "Children: The Challenge," and he swears by it. And it's one of the books. One of the things they talk about in there is don't swat flies and don't make empty threats, because swatting flies essentially you keep saying stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it, and you don't have no follow through.
Right.
That's gonna end up biting you in the butt. And also with the, like you said, threats, it's like I try to not make a threat unless I'm going to follow through. And I've had times when there was one time.
Man, I
when
really want an example. Yeah.
like my son, one time I said, "You are not leaving the table until you finish that." And I said it, and then I went, "I'm going to have to stay here with him the whole time."
Yeah.
So then I had to sit there for, I think it was like an hour at the table, waiting for him to finally take that last bite. And I was like, I've made the threat. I can't back down now. So I'm always very cautious about what kind of threats I give my kids.
So, Abe, I have to ask you this because I need some advice here. Like, my girls will be playing a video game, and I'll say, 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes. We got to be done. And I'll really give them about 17 minutes. That, you know, like,
That just screws with their perception of time.
yeah, maybe. Is that okay to do, or do you need to be like 5 minutes and only 5 minutes, and maybe a 2-minute warning?
My wife's way better than I am at this. She will do the 5 minutes. She'll grab it. If
Okay.
they're like, for me, It's all about laziness. If they're being good,
Right. If they're being quiet and good and not hurting each other.
right?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
in our household, the 5 minutes, I've learned that if I tell my kids time to go pack up, they'll whine and complain and kind of get angry,
Right.
Especially if they're with the cousins. But then if I say 5 minutes and we're leaving, then when I say time to go, no matter how long it's been, they've been prepped. So as long as I prep them that we're leaving, the leaving is much more smooth.
So you need to give the threat.
Well, it's not a threat even. It's more of a
But
prep.
it's a warning.
It's more
prep,
of like,
okay.
hey, we're leaving in 5 minutes, but 5 minutes is relative. Like, it's not like an exact time.
Yeah, kids are dumb. They have no concept of time.
My son got a watch. What am I going to do?
That was the worst mistake you made right there.
Yeah,
That should be a tip.
exactly.
Don't give your kid a watch.
That's the tip. That's the third tip, right?
Oh, this is going well. What's the next one?
Never do anything fun with your kids, ever. They will...
Is this advice or a tweet?
Oh, yeah. Here's the parenting tip. Okay. This is the tip. Tip 3. Never do anything fun with your kids ever. They will never stop bothering you about wanting to do it again.
For example. And by the way, Abe, we keep cutting you off. So please,
Okay.
if you have stories.
You go to Disneyland
Yeah.
once, they're going to bother you about going to Disneyland for the rest of their childhood.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's why my kids have never been.
Oh, they haven't?
Not yet.
Who can afford that with all your
No,
kids?
seriously.
No, but even something
You'd have
simple.
to win the lottery.
We have to
just
rent
for
out
that.
the park.
Yeah, exactly.
Like for me, it's like, well, let's go to the Treehouse Museum, which is up in Ogden, and the kids enjoy it. If, as an adult, it's one of the worst places you could go to because you're spending $7 to go to this place where you just walk around and you're bored. And because it's fun for them, they ask to go like every other week. I'm like, no, we're not going back. At best, we're going to Kangaroo Zoo. Because you can enjoy Kangaroo Zoo as an adult.
That's like the step down from Treehouse Museum.
Oh, you're
to
getting
Kangaroo Zoo.
germs and a disease for sure. But
Yeah, but
still.
but you're not like at Treehouse Museum. You can't bounce off the walls. At Kangaroo Zoo, they get all their energy out.
Yeah, I'm saying Kangaroo Zoo is the better choice.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's what you're saying. Well, and I've noticed too, Abe, sorry, we keep jumping in here.
No, go ahead.
So share any stories you want, but I've also learned that more expensive doesn't necessarily mean more fun for the kids.
Right.
Like I've had, like just a while back, we took our kids to the sand dunes and up in St. Anthony, and it's just sand. And they spent hours there and thought it was the coolest thing. And we're trying to slide down the hill, and they were digging holes and having a good time. And I'm like,
It's kind of a popular destination up there, actually.
this costs nothing, And my kids are entertained with like.
I thought you had
rocks
like
and
a
sticks.
4-wheeler or something.
No, that was at the cabin.
Okay.
Yeah, the sand dunes. It was just going there and kind of hanging out. But yeah, we saw the dune buggies riding around. But I agree with Abe that they're going to ask to do it again, which is why I always try to do something different. It's kind of like magic tricks. In the magic tricks, they teach you whenever someone says, "Hey, show me how the trick was done," you just say, "Well, let me show you something different." So my kids are like, "Hey, we want to go back to X." I'm like, "Let me show you something different. Here's a cardboard box. Draw a house inside. Boom, fun."
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Thank you.
Before we continue, can I just say that my son is going to listen to this, my 12-year-old son, and he's going to feel,
Wait, the one that's kind of a problem?
yes.
You're like, how do I censor this?
Yeah. And he's good. So his only problem is getting along with the other two. He's a wonderful kid. So,
And I should clarify too that you're speaking from the older child perspective. Kent and I's kids are a little bit younger, and so you're getting kind of the range here, Jacob.
Yeah, this is good.
Nice.
This is good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on, Abe.
okay, so the idea behind that was it's important to spend quality time with your kids, no matter what you're doing. I like the idea of switching it up, making sure you give them some chances to do other stuff.
Yeah.
So,
But quality time makes sense because they don't need much. Even just talking to them or watching them do a magic trick, for example. I'll bring up magic twice, but my daughter just did a magic show today, and even just watching the show. No matter how much you want to pull out your phone and start looking at things, if you just give them that attention for 15 minutes, they'll be good for a while. You can get other stuff done.
Was it pretty tempting to not pull out that phone? You're like,
The phone thing is
"Oh,
so
my God."
challenging. It is.
It is very challenging.
It's such a temptation to be like, oh, what's on Twitter? But it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I got to tell myself that.
I have to tell myself that too. Like a lot of times when I get home, I'll actually put my phone up in my bedroom and like let it charge, and I'll be down with the family.
good idea.
So
Yeah.
then I don't have my phone even on me.
And then your kids, if they see your phone, give me your phone. I want to play games.
Of course, then I left my phone upstairs. My wife was trying to call me like crazy because my son had to go to Scouts, and I was like, I didn't have my phone on me, so
Good excuse.
didn't quite work out.
This is why Abe has a phone now.
yeah, I now have a phone, and I have a funny story about that, actually. The other day, I took my kid, my younger one, to the McDonald's. I know.
the McDonald's.
It's tier 1. That's fine.
And he That's right. So he went up into the urine tubes, as I like to call them, and he's up there.
You mean the French fries?
Slides. Oh, Jake.
I finally figured out the secret ingredient.
So preserved.
So he's up there looking through one of those windows like, Dad, Dad, Dad. And I'm looking at my phone, And I look up, good job. Another one of those, good job,
Good
buddy.
job, buddy.
I enjoy watching
job.
you.
Good job.
So I realized I wasn't spending the quality time. I looked down on my phone. And so what I decided to do was climb up in those urine tubes. And, yeah.
Wow.
Did they kick you out like immediately after?
Well, it was hard for me to get out.
Did you
there.
take off your shoes?
I was kind of stuck to the urine. So my skin was kind of peeling.
That's why you have these like tube flakes stuck to you right now. I get it now.
I don't even know what's
That
happening.
was my band's name in college. Two Flakes.
Tube flakes?
Yeah.
All right, Abe, what's next?
Okay. If you can't get your kids' attention, just start any video on YouTube and they will be at your side within seconds.
So true. So, like, which videos, for example?
It doesn't
Any
matter.
video.
Anything with sound, they'll be like, what are you watching? What are you watching? What are you watching?
Yeah.
They'll be right there. by
I'll
your side.
be on the couch, like laying down on the couch with my head up on the armrest, just kind of watching a video, and all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I'll just see this kid appear out of nowhere, just kind of right behind me, watching the video with me. And inevitably, what I'll always say to them is like, "Nope, it's scary." And they're like, "It's scary." I'm like, "Yeah, it's scary." So they just think I watch horror films nonstop on
It's
YouTube.
always scary.
But then, no, actually, my 4-year-old has started asking, "Is it scary?" Like when he sees me watching a video, and I'm like, "Yup."
Yeah.
Scary.
Oh, what are you watching that they shouldn't be watching anyway?
Well, it's like just stuff like Fine Brothers, for example. A lot of times they'll have like bleeped out language and stuff like that, and I'm like, I just don't want my kids.
Yeah, I was
hearing
watching
what's
the
going on
Meg trailer, and my daughter, who's 9, was like, started watching it with me. I'm like, no, it's scary. It's sharks. I don't want you to get scared anytime I go in the water because that's what happened to me as a kid. But she's like, let's watch it again.
That's why you still don't go in the
watch it
water,
again.
right?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or why
Terrified.
you pee whenever you're in there.
And the urine tubes.
Yeah.
there. Yeah. Gross.
So the idea behind this is, you want to limit your kids' screen time, which is actually a true advice that I would give to you, Jake. Is
Okay.
You want to limit
It how much?
Well, I was just at a
And
conference.
how soon do I introduce it as well?
Kids are watching more and more
Yeah.
earlier and earlier.
I would say because she's an infant,
I should
you
start
can
right
watch
away.
anything you want. Like, for example, you'll be up late at night and you might as well watch something. I used to watch Justice League cartoon because it was for me, but also cartoon, so visually stimulating.
I think my second son's first movie was Inception, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I
Yay!
think it's the one you lent it to me to watch it again, and I was like, I'll watch it again, and he was in my arms. But you were
That's
saying
awesome.
you were at a conference or
Oh,
something?
yeah,
like
yeah.
that?
So I was at a conference and today about this, an educational conference, and the guy presenting said that kids from age 8 to 15 average 8 hours of screen time now per day.
A day?
Yes, a day, 8 hours.
I actually just did a study for college and the students there, and of course this is like a different age range, but they were
listen to 'em.
they were 6.5 hours a day.
Yeah.
A day?
It's a Gen Z.
That was well, it's not just Gen Z, but it is including Gen Z. But that was out of 150 students or something like that, and that was the average 6.4.
So,
Yeah.
Abe, I'm quite guilty of this, actually. My daughters, they play a game called Roblox on the Xbox. And it's a children's game. It's a little bit like Minecraft, except for people can make their own levels, and often it's scary. And so sometimes I'll just let them play, and I'll go do my thing.
Roadblocks?
Roblox, like
Roblox.
Roblox.
Okay.
Remember this because it's been in the news lately because there's been some adult content in the game. And this is why I need to monitor everything they're doing. My 4-year-old is playing this game, apparently not afraid of anything. All of a sudden, she learned from this game to go in the bathroom, turn off the lights, and summon Bloody Mary.
No.
And she did not
work?
care. Oh, don't say, did it work? I sure hope not.
She's Bloody Mary's our guest next week.
She's still alive.
Oh, nice.
Your
Yeah, let's
daughter's
bring her
still
in.
alive,
My
right?
daughter's still alive. Other family members have strangely died.
Wow.
But no, like I was like, what
All
am
those
I?
who disagree with her.
What am I not seeing? What am I not watching just because maybe I'm on my phone and they're in the other room playing a video game? So
Yeah.
definitely monitor screen time.
And monitoring what they are doing.
Which means you're watching cartoons with them sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we have a pretty strict rule in our house that you can't do YouTube. Like, even if it's a video we know, they're not allowed to do YouTube on their own because then they'll just go, well, click this video and then this video and then this video. The next thing you know, you're watching pimple popping videos or something like that.
Whoop.
Yeah.
It's like, how did that happen? My wife
favorite.
is very good with this, actually. She's very, very good about limiting screen time. Like, the kids have to earn their screen time. They have to get their chores done before screen time, and then even then they only have a limited amount. After that, they have to go do something else, and they can earn additional screen time, but they have to do additional chores to do so. So she's very good about that, whereas I'm like, kids, let's do a movie marathon, all the Star Wars. Well, all the good ones. Let's do all the Star Wars. And my wife's like, really? I'm like, fine. So
Sorry.
she's helping me out with that as well, because I'm not great. I'm not a great parent in that regard. I spend all day in front of a screen, and so it's
So you want to come home and do it somewhere?
yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So Abe,
Two things.
Okay, yeah.
Two things that I would also suggest.
Okay.
I do surprise inspections on my kids' phones, on my older two boys'
Oh,
phones.
this is
so
good
you're-
advice.
Yes.
So your older two boys have phones.
Yes. Those phones belong to you as a parent.
Have
You're
they
the
learned
parent.
how to delete their histories, though?
I don't know. But
Okay.
the surprise inspection hopefully guards against that a little bit.
With the phone, can I ask, and save your second point, as a principal and as a dad of boys, what age do you see people getting phones? What age should they get phones?
Well, that's a big
considering
topic.
you were just in middle school.
You're,
You probably
you're the
saw this a
principal of a
ton.
middle school right now, right?
Principal of an
I'm
elementary.
in elementary. Yeah.
Elementary. And do
Yeah.
the kids have phones even in elementary?
Yeah, some 8 is probably the earliest I've seen.
Wow.
12 is probably generally when they start getting
Okay.
a lot of phones. So,
Jeez.
yeah.
Well, it's a different world too. I have to keep reminding myself of this too, that it's a different world than when I was a kid, because I think it's going to be a different world when my kids get older about what age you get phones. Because when I was a kid, I didn't have a phone, but it's because
You had a
they weren't
pager,
around.
right?
I didn't have a pager. I never
Oh,
got one.
okay.
I didn't get a phone. I didn't even get a phone until I think after my mission. But and so my wife and I have had this long conversation about what kind of phone
Jitterbug.
when we get our kids. But we actually have a home phone now that all the kids use, but it's heavily monitored and we're always around it. So they can't take it anywhere unless we have had times when they go to their friend's house. We'll give it to them. It's like it's only for calling.
But it's a cell phone.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
No, we give them the rotary phone. It's like, here, take that to your friend's house.
It's the long cord down the street.
And you had a second point as well.
Okay, so at this conference today, they had this internet police guy who monitors kids on the internet. There's a new app that blew my mind.
It sounds creepy, by the way.
I know.
Internet police.
Monitors
that's
kids
what
on the
he said.
internet.
That's
Yeah.
what he said he did.
You're okay.
You sure he was a cop?
So there's a new app called Secret Calculator. Have you heard of this?
Oh, is this the one where it looks like a calculator on the icon, but then it's actually...
Yeah, so you put the number into the calculator, a secret number, like a 6-digit number. It unlocks whatever the kids are hiding.
Yeah.
behind it.
Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean? Whatever
So
they're
you
hiding?
open up on their phone,
Yeah.
the calculator. The app looked like it's a calculator on their phone. They know a 6-digit code, or they've set a code. They put it in, a whole new world opens up.
So they could hide an app behind this calculator.
Or they can hide So this guy had busted a bunch of kids that were hiding highly inappropriate pictures and video
Wow.
that 13-year-olds should not have on their phone.
Man.
So even if you think you know everything your kid is doing,
Jake, homeschool, no phone. That's the advice.
Check.
Go back to being Amish.
Yeah.
That'll solve this.
It is weird that, we grew up, we're roughly about the same age
Yeah.
here, but we grew up in a time where we can remember when there was no internet and computers weren't a big thing.
You sound so old. We can remember a time when there was no internet.
But these kids are growing up and they're smart. Like they know how to do things almost from birth, like know how to interact with a touch screen and make things work. And it's kind of scary the kind of things they can do. And as we get, farther away from the curve, they're just coming up on it.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll say one more thing about screen time.
Okay.
My kids were on their screens all day on Saturday, and so we decided to do something as a family when we went to a movie. So that was
But it's quality time as a
bigger
family.
screen.
that's right. It's a bigger
Depending on the movie.
That's true. That's
Yeah,
true. That's
That is true.
It was The Conjuring. So.
Perfect.
All right. Next parenting tip. Always check to see if your kid is okay after they run face first into a glass door before laughing at them.
So that's the tweet behind the tip.
The tip is always keep your kids safe. That's an important thing.
Yeah. I think one time
And if they are safe, laugh at them.
Yes.
Okay,
If they're
all right.
okay, then it's okay to laugh.
So I have a confession. Sometimes maybe I'll leave my two girls to go down and get a drink at the gas station, which is 3 minutes away. And they're younger, not old enough. The older one's not old enough to babysit. And I'll say, hey, I'll be right back. And my two rules, I said, what are my two rules? And they say, No opening the door and no starting fires. Those are my only 2 rules. No playing with matches and no opening door for any reason.
Yeah. Well, I actually tweeted out.
Dangerous chemicals are fine.
Yeah. It's not a rule.
Yeah.
It's a guideline.
I tweeted out a while back, and this is kind of how I've felt about parenting. I said, parenting is an odd mix of wanting your kids to have adventures and wanting to wrap them in bubble wrap and keep them safe inside forever.
Yeah.
Because it's just like you want to protect them all the time, but you can't. And you got to let them have those experiences. Like even just we've started leaving our kids at home for little bits of time, and staying nearby because our kids aren't old enough to babysit themselves yet. And it's been weird. And like there was one time just recently where I was gone and my wife went somewhere just to run to the store and back. And apparently the UPS man or the FedEx man, one of those guys came and knocked on the door.
Oh, geez.
And my oldest daughter grabbed all the kids and ran down to the downstairs thing and texted my wife. And there's a guy knocking on our door and he's driving a white truck and we don't know what to do. And my wife called her back. And it's like, my wife called her back. She's like, what's going on? And then she's like, oh, it's just a delivery man. Okay, is he gone? Okay, look outside. Is there a package? Okay, you can bring that inside.
Go get the gun, sweetie.
But it's those scary. But at the same time, you have to let them. I mean, this is obviously not this young, but you have to let them make mistakes too. Like, okay, this is not going to
like
go
opening
well.
the door for the delivery man?
No,
is that what you mean?
I mean, buddy, that chair tower probably won't be very sturdy when you climb to the top of it. And then you go, okay, well, let's get the lesson learned here. And you let them fall and hurt themselves. Obviously not to the point where it's going to cost you medical bills. Sure.
Right. I mean, if you lose one, there's lots more.
We got that
Is
covered.
that- okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And Abe, I assume having 3 boys that they get into trouble a lot, maybe get themselves hurt quite a bit.
They're actually pretty good kids.
Oh, really?
All 3 of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. But and I would say the world is a safer place in a lot of ways than when we grew up. No one's sitting on phone books in the backseat of their cars anymore.
That's true. Yeah.
But we survived, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember, back in my day, I would be gone for a day and a half having a sleepover at my friend's house that I would just walk to their house a couple, maybe a neighborhood away, and my mom would never know. I would watch my daughter walk down to the next house over.
Mm-hmm.
That's the weird thing is we live in a safer world in the sense of, seat belts and car seats and helmets and all that. But we live in a more unsafe world just because of all the bad out there. Or maybe it's just I'm now a parent. It's becoming more apparent of there are people out there. I saw a video just the other day. It's child trafficking is real. And it showed it was a video of all these kids getting snatched out of their parents' hands. And I'm like, I'm never, ever taking my kids anywhere again. And they start panicking about it. But then yesterday we went to a Bees game and I was like, okay, bathroom's over there. Go ahead. But then I watched that door like a hawk. Just okay, making sure they're okay. It's a weird mix of just wanting them to do stuff and wanting to protect them.
There's a ton of kids too that their parents won't let them do sleepovers anymore.
Yeah, it's
They're
true.
We're not doing sleepovers. Where I'm if I don't want to host the sleepover. They're
you
going
want to go over
somewhere
there?
else?
Yeah,
let's
Go for it.
It's a night off for us. So.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Okay, so this one's a fairly straightforward tip. After your first child is born, go buy 20 years worth of poster board. This will save you countless 10 p.m. trips to CVS pharmacy.
Poster board?
Yes,
Yes.
poster
Yes.
board.
Why?
Because they have some school project. And all of a sudden it's I need poster board.
Oh, this is
and
totally new to
yarn,
me. This is
and
totally new,
You
yeah.
didn't do school projects like that?
No.
It's they have to do a diorama or something.
We just had to whittle, Joel.
I need to bunch
That
of
stuff.
But if
It's
you came to
this
your
is how you skin a squirrol. That's what that's
Exactly.
That
if
was
you-
elementary school.
But if you
for
came
me.
to your dad and it's
Thanks, Mom.
I need a chair whittled by tomorrow morning, you're like, oh, it's going to
Yeah.
take forever.
I'm like, this knife is way too dull. Yeah.
But and so what's the tip behind the tweet?
The tip is buy lots of poster board.
Okay.
It's just straight up.
Yeah.
Let's
This is this is funny. This is new.
Also, maybe you have to do the projects as well. I'm not
yeah.
quite there.
How
but I
much?
know
How
it
much
will
are
be.
you doing of your projects though versus letting the kid do it?
Actually, that's a question I have for you guys because I haven't yet got that. My daughter's in 3rd grade, so she's done a few things. But I think if it's the night before it's due, then I would probably do the whole thing. Is that bad?
That happens.
Is that bad parenting?
I was a
Sounds
teacher.
like it.
Sounds like a thing, Jake.
I'm a principal. I see both, and I never assign those kind of projects because I knew that the parents would just end up doing them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's tough too because, okay, in the parental relationship between me and my wife, I am justice and she is mercy, and so I'll be like, "You're gonna fail then. You didn't do the project. You're gonna fail. It's just the way it's gonna be." And then my wife will be sneaking, let me help you with this, and she'll help the kid with it. And it's just kind of how it works. Like I am the type that I'm
makes
like,
sense though. There's a good balance there.
And we try to keep the balance.
Then they can have like a fear, right? Like, oh wow, I am feeling responsible for this. Oh, mom saved me.
Well, and I've heard people say, and I don't remember who it was. Maybe it was one of the parenting books my wife read. But it's like if the kid forgets their lunch at school, you don't bring it to them because you need to let them learn the consequences of their actions so they don't forget the next time. So let them go hungry. And I'm like, that seems mean, even for justice. Like that's so
Says
mean.
the guy that's okay with the chair tower.
That's true.
It was a small chair tower.
Only 8 or 10 feet or so.
Yeah, it was on the linoleum soft.
Oh, sure.
All right, what else?
Okay, number 7. Take the kids to the pumpkin patch. Let them pick out any pumpkin, but make them carry it to the car. They'll never want to go again.
That's great advice, actually.
I love that.
I love that advice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can pick whatever you want, but you got to carry it.
Every year, that pumpkin patch.
So is the principal teaching children responsibility?
Yeah,
or
and
something
same
like
thing
that?
as you were talking about, Joel. The consequences to their decisions. They have to live them out, so they see.
I love that. I mean, it won't work when they're 1, but
No.
it'll. I mean,
Start now.
You know, like my dad gave me a lot of advice growing up, a ton of advice. But one of the things, it's weird how things stick with you. And I don't know if he's happy that this is the advice that all the advice he gave me, this is the one that stuck. But I remember we were making soup, and I said, "Can I put more garlic salt in? Because I love garlic." And he said, "You can put all the garlic salt you want in, but you can't take any back out." And I was like, whoa. Like suddenly I had this kind of mind-altering experience where it's like, this is an irreversible thing. And, I've applied that to some principles in my life, and I've actually tried to use that on my kids. I don't know if it's stuck yet, but it is a consequence. And I don't think my dad would have let me ruin the entire batch of soup that we were making for the entire family. But at the same time, he made me at least think about the consequences of my actions.
yeah, that's a good story.
Actually, some good advice, Joel.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It's my dad's.
Yeah, okay. Joel's dad.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep it going.
All right, number 8. If your kids are fighting in the back seat of the car, stick your arm over and swing it around a bunch. That'll show them.
Just like back behind you, just like,
Stop it. Stop it.
It's the SWAT
guys have done that,
There's
right?
nothing you can do, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
You can,
It feels so true. Oh. What and the tip behind that?
The tip is, you're going to have many chances to lose your patience with your kids. And I think it's so important to try your best not to lose your patience. If you do lose your patience and if you by chance yell at them,
That would-
I can't see
Never's
that
going to happen.
No,
Right.
Okay.
No. Start afresh the next day. Be like, today I'm going to not lose my temper with my kids. Because your kids see you as such a role model. They, it's funny because my kids have told me.
Is that why my girl's smoking already? I just don't know how she can do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy.
That's talent. You should take her on a TV show.
Yeah, she can't see more than 10 inches, but yeah, it's somehow.
But you
All
were
right.
saying?
So my kids have told me that they talk to their friends, and and my wife and I are the only ones that haven't spanked our
Ever.
kids. Ever.
yeah.
Yeah. So spanking is a whole nother topic. We could do a whole show on spanking.
I'll give him a swat occasionally.
Will
But
you?
it's like, it's just that kind of a, hey. Well, in fact, my son, I'll occasionally
Is that why you hit Kent and I sometimes?
Yeah.
Just in the
Watch
mode.
it, buddy. That's one.
Sorry, Dad.
But no, like I remember my son, like I treat him like one of the guys, and like if one of the guys does something stupid, you kind of swat him on the back of the head.
Yeah.
And I did that one time, just like stop it, like not in anger, just kind of like stop what you're doing. And I got this look from another adult that it was like, that's abuse, and I was like, it's not, like we're cool here. This isn't an anger thing. It's more kind of a shape up kind of a thing, but. It's very controversial. So
Yeah. And there have been times when I may have raised my voice at my daughters, and my oldest one will, honestly, she won't be scared. She won't feel bad. She'll come up to me and be like, are you okay?
Oh,
Because she'll know that I feel so bad about yelling. Because as soon as you do, you're like, yeah, serves your... Oh, I'm so sorry.
you feel
I
bad.
Yeah.
you feel bad. It's like when we do verses with Jacob. It's just I feel bad.
That hasn't happened yet.
That's
It
why.
will.
And if it does, you're going down.
But I'm sure, son. But here's the thing: is that and this is something I have to work on because I do have a temper and have a tendency to fly off the handle and yell. And I always remember that I need to apologize. And
Yes.
I will swallow my pride and go into my daughter or son and just be like, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have gotten angry, and I have to show myself being sorry for doing that, because otherwise they're going to think it's okay for me to, or okay for them to yell. Although they do it to their siblings all the time, and I'm like, what are you doing? Oh wait, I just did it too. Why are we all mad at each other? Where's your mother?
Well, it takes a big man to swallow their pride.
Are you calling me
like
fat?
that?
Takes a big man to swallow a Whopper too.
Yes.
But yeah,
He did it.
To swallow a lot.
it hurt.
Yeah. All right. And, there was a time when I was a teacher more, and when I was a principal a little bit, that I would deal with some naughty kids all day. And I would, I'd do such a good job not to yell and scream.
Yeah.
And then when I got home, it was like I was taking that out on my kids.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Which was terrible. It was awful.
Yeah.
So I made a goal,
But
do the
I-
opposite. Now I yell at the kids at school and then
No, you yell at the teachers.
That's got to be. I was going to say that's got to be difficult, because as an employee of the school, and as being accountable to parents, it's like you can't really just unleash on the kids, even though they really deserve it.
Yeah.
That's got to be rough.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I tell my kid, like, after I would apologize, same as you, and I'd say, it's not you, it was Jason at school. It's made me so mad.
Jason, if you're listening,
You know what you did.
It's always Jason.
Okay, are you ready for the next one?
You bet.
yeah.
Okay. During parent-teacher conferences, look at your child and say, oh, burn, after everything the teacher says.
I have a question for you, Abe.
I love that.
So I have limited experience with just 2 girls and one that's been in school for a few years now. But she seems to be a good kid, or at least her teacher is saying that she's very good. That she listens, she's not talking too much during class. She does
She
her
just had
homework.
one teacher.
Well, a few teachers.
Okay, they're all
But I'm
saying
saying
that.
every time I go to parent-teacher conference, it's good news. Is that... does every teacher say good news if parents are there?
Are you saying is it reliable?
Is it reliable? Exactly.
No, teachers are fairly honest.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
good.
They
With
might
the kid sitting right there, too.
Some teachers might sugarcoat it.
Okay.
They might say, she's a good kid, but she's struggling keeping her hands to herself.
Okay. So once again, kind of like the compliment sandwich Joel was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Well,
those-
and I wanted to ask you this too, because as someone who's been in the education system for a while, it seems like that parents are not taking accountability for their children's actions a lot of time. So the teacher calls them, gets them in trouble, sends them detention, and then they go to the teacher and like, "What are you doing to my kid?" Instead of going to their kid and being like, "What'd you do?" Is that true, or is that just kind of a perception that we get of the world?
That's true. That's probably more true but there's also the opposite, where the parents will take it to an extreme with their kid and like try to shame them almost. So both happen, yeah. But I'd say that's probably more common, what you're talking about, where
It's weird to me when I see these things of like teachers or parents getting after teachers for getting their kid in trouble. I'm like, well, it sounds like their kid was being a jerk. Like, talk to your kid a little bit.
Swat him on the head, right?
Just swat on the head in public. Yeah. Back of the head, I want to point out, is that kind of like a Three Stooges kind of a thing.
you'd be a great teacher. You want a 3rd grade position at my school?
No. Like I said,
There's an opening for you, Joel.
well, and I was the kid in school who I was the class clown who thought I was kind of funny and probably got a couple teachers riled up because I was trying to take attention away from them. And so I'm kind of very conscious of like, my kids acting up in school and being like, just listen to the teacher.
Yeah, it's
don't give them a
karma.
hard
You're
time.
going to get a few calls for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah.
Have you already or no?
No, actually my kids are surprisingly good.
Well, it's your wife. It's
Yeah, she's-
to her credit.
You were
No,
surprisingly
definitely.
good, though.
I did do good. I
Yeah,
got
your
good
mom
grades.
was on the show, and she said you never did anything wrong.
Yeah, I remember that. She thought of stuff after.
Yeah.
So the tip behind this is don't be afraid to embarrass your kids. It's your right as a father to embarrass your kids
Wow.
in any way that you can.
Okay.
Which paid off when I took breakdancing class when I was 12. Because now I
Yes.
breakdance for their friends. I wear bedazzled jeans. You name it. You want to embarrass your kids as much as possible.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Well, and we talked earlier about, before we were recording, we talked about making people laugh and how fun that is. I want to state for the record that one of my favorite things to do is tell a dad joke so bad that my daughter will go, "Dad!" Like that's like the ultimate for me. is to
The
get her to say
extended
that.
dad.
Yeah, it's like she's so annoyed with what I just said. Like you guys have seen the video of it's a YouTube video about a guy going through IKEA and he makes
Yes.
a ton of puns to annoy his girlfriend. I do that with my daughter, and she knows whenever we go to IKEA, that's going to happen. So she doesn't want to go with me.
I never want that to happen because my daughter
Maybe 'cause
loves
it's
dad
IKEA.
jokes.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think she loves him deep down.
Okay.
But I like to annoy her.
See, I actually try to embarrass my daughter, like with my Halloween costumes, for example. I'll be Mr. Mistopheles, the magical mystery cat, and we'll go trick-or-treating, and she loves it. Like, it's like, you dressed as a cat, Dad. Good job. And I'm wondering in the next year or two if that's going to be a real problem.
Yeah, but it's always it's in good fun though. Like they get annoyed, but that's kind of the badge of honor.
Yeah, when they get older, I bet they'll be like, okay, I cannot be seen with you, Dad.
Yeah, take out the leotard.
Yeah. They're like
totally-
15 and you're in the leotard. I don't think they're going to want their friends around.
Are these your friends? They're real cool.
I'm the cool dad. I did do the thing a while back where I rolled down the car window and yelled, "I love you" to my son, and he just kind of went, "Ugh." This is going into his friend's house.
Perfect.
I would say
fun.
though, there's a point where you're embarrassing yourself and not your kid, and you got to figure out what that line is. Like if you're flossing, the dance.
Yes.
We were
Yeah.
talking about this a little bit before. If you're flossing or if you're dabbing, you're only embarrassing yourself at that point.
What if you're flossing in real, like with the floss, like
Yeah, you're picking your teeth and
As long
clipping
as you
your
give-
fingernails.
As long as you give their friends your floss
Yeah.
after you're done.
yeah, exactly.
I'm going to say what the tip is first this time.
Okay.
A little backwards. Kids only hear what they want to hear, not what you want them to hear.
True.
An example of this is when I say Christmas is a joyous time of year in which we give and we love one another, my kids will hear Christmas is presents, as joyous presents in which presents love presents.
Presents.
It's so true. Oh yeah, but it's true because like I just the other day I told my son not to do something. Oh, I was going to make him breakfast, and I said, "Okay, I'm making breakfast tomorrow. Don't eat." And then the next morning I get up and he has a big old bowl of corn pops and he's eating. I'm like, "What are you doing?" I said, "Don't eat." He's like, "I didn't hear you." And I'm like, "I said that directly to you." But it's just what happens. Like, you have to repeat yourself a couple times and be patient. Yeah. Then I had to apologize after because I yelled at him.
Swatted him on the head.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll swat on the back of the head. So, okay. Kent, you said you had a couple words of advice too. You just want to throw in real quick?
Yeah,
here at the
real
end?
quick.
Okay.
I always think this is where it's hard for me to draw the line, and I actually want some help, and maybe Jake would as well.
Here, let me draw a line for you.
Yeah, right
There you
there.
go.
Thank you very much. That was very straight as well.
thank you.
I want to know if I should be a friend, where the balance is basically a friend, a stern parent, get their respect, get their love. I want to be their hero, basically. In reference to this, I told my daughter.
So trying not to sing Enrique Iglesias right now. I can be your hero, baby.
So I was playing Batman Arkham City once, and my daughter, she was about 4, watching me, and she goes, "Who's that, Dad?" And she didn't know who Batman was, so I failed. I said, "That's me. That's me. I'm Batman." And she goes, "That's you? You're Batman?" I said, "Yes. Remember that." And I said it many times so she would remember. And so I wanted to be Batman in her eyes. I wanted to be that hero baby. In fact, one time, she drew a picture in church, and I go, "What's this?" And it was really abstract, of course. And she goes, "That's you. You're Batman, and you're praying."
Oh,
And I was like, "I love you so much. You're the best kid ever."
That's
Second
awesome.
kid, I don't know. You have a ways to go. But I'm trying to find out the line between being friend, not quite Disneyland dad, and I'm almost like, what's your policy on like buying toys at the store? If you just like go to the store, or do you wait for certain occasions? I mean, I know there's a lot of questions at once, but what's your line?
I would say the most important thing you can do is be a father first. And what that means to me is to be the kind of father that makes sure you put your kids first
Okay.
and to have rules and make sure your kids follow those rules. Kids crave that structure, and you need to make sure they have that structure in their lives first and foremost. And if you're a kind of dad that's breaking kind of norm rule sociological rules, like
Right.
if you're swearing in front of your kids, then all of a sudden rules don't exist in their lives, and things are chaos to them. So you need to be a father first and make sure they have structure and rules. As far as buying stuff for your kids,
Yeah.
like what do you want to buy them?
Well, like let's say
this-
we go to Target and we're walking through the toy aisle just because I'm trying to waste time, and they're like, "Can I have that? It's only a few dollars." I'm like, And my usually go-to is wait for your birthday, which is in 11 months.
Always?
Always. Or maybe Santa will get it for you. And I stall them. I distract them with a magic trick, if you will. Or do you sometimes surprise your kids with stuff? Do you want to incentivize them, for example, for things they do well instead of threatening things if they do, go against your wishes?
Yeah, I never buy. I don't know about you, Joe.
No,
I never buy stuff at the
Just
store.
on occasion, rare occasion.
Ever.
Yeah.
Because I know if I do it once, every time they're going to
Okay.
expect it. They're
That's
gonna
true.
be like,
That's probably a dangerous road.
But I'm such a sucker. I only have 2 daughters, and of course I'm like, yeah, you deserve it. You've been really good.
This coming from the guy who won't even buy me a drink.
Hey, be good. Prove yourself.
Well,
Maybe Santa will bring you
So
one.
yeah, I'm definitely the type that I'm like, they'll say, "Can we get this?" I'm like, "Nope," and just keep walking. But my wife,
Is it because you have so many kids?
yes, they got this like duck trail behind me of just like kids. And but my wife, she finds sometimes these deals online, and she'll be like, "This is an amazing deal. Like this is like the price." She follows Camel. Do you guys know what that is? Nope. Like tracks the price of like on Amazon. You can see when it's lowest, so you can actually graph it. She's like, "This is the lowest it's ever been. If we get it, should we give it to the kids?" And I said, well, and sometimes we'll wait for Christmas or sometimes we'll wait for birthdays. But then sometimes it's like, well, we can get this, but then they have to earn it. And so it's like, what can they do to earn the toy? So we do surprise them on occasion, but a lot of times it is kind of like, here's the surprise, but you have to earn it by, doing a deep clean in the kitchen or something like that. And then they'll be able to get it.
Okay.
So it's a prize, but they have to, work towards it.
Huh. Okay, and one more thing. I think, kind of like you said with setting rules, Abe, setting a routine for kids is golden. And sometimes the routine should just like be basic, like TLC, tender love and care. Like, for example, with my daughters, I would leave the house and I'd be driving away and they'd chase my car down just to the end of the street or just the end of the sidewalk. And we'd always do a hug, kiss, and a high five.
Huge.
So I'd open the window, we do a hug, kiss, and a high five every day. And they may never remember it.
Oh, well, you'll do
Right.
it when they're in high school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when the embarrassing line crosses.
Yeah.
But for me, that's something I would never trade, even though I'm like, I'm late for work. Oh, wait, it's the routine. I want to instill this love with them. And so it's seriously so valuable.
That's
and they
adorable.
look like they're brokenhearted if it doesn't happen somehow.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah.
Can we start doing that too?
Yes.
All right.
End the episode with a hug, kiss, and a high five.
Yes.
So is that your tips?
Yeah.
So then I had some tips too, and I wanted to kind of emulate Abe here. So I actually went through and looked at some of my tweets that had the hashtag parenting or had a parenting theme. So this one I'll just read real quick. This morning, as I sat eating my freshly cooked eggs and warm corned beef hash, which is one of my favorite meals, my youngest son peeled off his dirty pull-up diaper and flung it across the room where it landed squarely on the breakfast plate in front of me. How's your day going? And that's a true story. I was sitting down to eat. I was very excited, and all of a sudden this pull-up just landed square on my plate. And I got mad. Like, I was like, what are you doing? Why would you throw a dirty diaper across the room? What are you doing? And he was like 3. And I was so frustrated. And then I had to just take a moment and be like, oh my gosh, this will make a great story or a great tweet. And so my lesson here is learn to laugh. Like, try to see the humor in the situation.
That's good
before
advice.
you get upset, because, and this is especially for me, because I fly off the handle a little too quickly. And so I'm trying to be better about just taking a breath and be like, I'm going to find this funny eventually. So learn to laugh. We already talked.
Cannot wait to throw a diaper at you sometime. Remember to laugh, Joel.
Wait till after the episode. The other
Weird that
lesson,
Jake still wears diapers.
the other lesson we kind of talked
Is
about.
it? It's kind of awesome.
It was
Depends.
So
It depends,
comfortable.
right?
Yeah.
yeah. It was learn to say no, and the tweet here was just, it doesn't matter how much you pay to get into the park/event, your kids will immediately want to do whatever costs extra.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. It's like, oh, we go to Lagoon, this is amazing. Hey, what's that thing? That costs more money. Let's do that. And I'm like, no.
There's a song I learned off of Yo Gabba Gabba, which I'll sing to my kids. That thankfully, this another show we watched together, and the song is "You don't always get what you want," and
Sometimes
it's very
you get what you need.
no, and then it's
That's
like
the Rolling Stones.
So no,
Yeah.
right, no satisfaction, but it's like you don't always get what you want, so please stop asking. But it's sort of sung in a really like uppity way.
So do you sing that to your kids when?
Oh, of course I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We sing Daniel Tiger songs to our kids all the time.
Yeah.
Like, grown-ups come back, whenever they get sad. We actually made one when they put their feet on the table. We said, stinky feet don't go where we eat. And I tell them it's a Daniel Tiger song, and my daughter gets so mad. She's like, no, it's not. Because she knows Daniel Tiger songs.
She knows better.
Another lesson I just want to point out, listen to your kids even if you're not listening. And this is my tweet. It said, modern parenting is 10% cooking, 15% cleaning, and 75% pretending to care about Minecraft. Because even like I'm looking at my kids, I'm paying attention. I have my phone down, but sometimes my mind wanders, but I'm still giving them the attention because I'm like, oh man, this is a long story.
And also looking for their shoes. You're constantly looking for their shoes.
The shoes. It's the worst. Check the car. No, the other car. Are they in the back? Are they at your friend's house?
There was a lot of material for this show. I don't think we realized how much there was to like unearth to do this. Yeah, there's
a couple more I just have. The lesson is, here's a tweet. Parenting is basically taking all the knowledge you've gained in your big adult brain and trying to cram it into little kid brains. But here's the twist. You can't let them know that's what you're doing or else they'll stop listening. Because I always want to be like, oh, here's a teaching moment. Let me turn on the fire hose of information. And so I just want to give them all the information. Like they ask me about how to change a flat tire and I start talking about how an engine works. Like it's just, you want to just get all the information in them. And you have to realize just, take advantage of teaching moments, but little bits. Don't turn on the fire hose.
okay.
Another one, being a parent. This is the tweet. Being a parent means waiting in line for hours and hours so someone else can go on the ride. Because then the lesson behind that is just find joy in their joy. Because
Well, at Disney, there's the child swap thing. So
that's awesome. And I want to try that when we go to Disneyland.
The what?
Child swap.
yeah, child swap. So
What does that mean?
they give you extra tickets, so you
No,
can come back through.
they give you a kid.
Fast pass.
They give you a kid to take on the ride, and then someone else takes your kid.
That's what I'm understanding it to be.
No, like you get up to the front of the line, you actually get to go on the ride twice.
Yeah.
Because you'll go with the one kid and then you go with the other kid.
Yeah.
So 3 years ago, I took my daughters to Disneyland, and I went on Space Mountain. That's the only ride. I went 3 days. I went on one ride for me, and we saw the Frozen play about 4 times.
Yeah.
And so in that way, like it was a great memory for me.
Yeah.
I call it selfless, even though I was at Disneyland with my kids.
It is though, because like I said, you have to find joy in their joy. And you
Yes.
do, but it's just, you have to switch that mentality where it's like, it's not about me. It's about them enjoying themselves. Like I'm creating their memories now. So, and then finally, this is the tweet. Me, what do you want to be when you grow up, bud? My son, I want to be a dad because then I can have a phone with games on it.
I guess only
And
dads
that
can,
was
apparently.
that was an actual conversation we had, and the lesson behind it was remember that they're always watching you. Like the kids will see what you do, they'll emulate what you do, and so you have to be on guard 24/7. And my kids actually do listen to Baconsale like fairly regularly. Like I don't let them listen to all the episodes. But like we get in the car and like, we listen to an episode of Baconsale? And I'm like, okay, which one can we listen to? And then I'll go through and try and pick one where Kent isn't too offensive. But it's
Sorry.
like, but my son actually and his cousin, they've started recording their own podcast, which I shared with you guys.
And it's awesome.
And so they're trying to do it. And it's funny because to hear what they're saying, I'm like, they're hearing me on the show. They're listening to me. They know what I talk about. They know what I put my stock in. And so I always want to make sure that, they know who I am and that I'm not a different person here than I am at home, So just remember, kids are
He
always
hits us
watching.
too, guys. Okay.
Yeah.
With that, I have a question for Joel, both you and Abe. What kind of musical TV or movie influence have you put on your kids?
Oh my goodness!
Because for me, my daughters listen to pop music or show tunes based on like what their mom listens to, and I'm like, no.
Maybe we need to save this for part 2. Parenting.
I mean,
part
this
2.
is a part 2, but like I want to somehow give them an influence for good taste, not what they're not Greatest Showman 9,000 times.
Yeah,
My kids love Greatest Showman.
Of course they do.
Yeah, you gave it a thumbs down in the
Well-
Bacon Sale list.
So my wife gets
Okay, Jake.
my wife she gets frustrated a lot of times because the kids want to listen to the same thing over and over again in the car, and I'm like, why aren't you in control of the radio? Because every time I get in the car, I've established the rule, and now they know when Dad's in the car, Dad's in control of the radio. And so it's like, and I do musical education with my kids,
Which is cool.
Which I call that. I've talked to you guys about it before, but what I'll do is I have my list of like my iPod, for example. I'll go to the next artist, and I'm like, okay, today we're going to learn about Creedence Clearwater Revival. Mm-hmm. And so then we'll listen to a handful of songs, and then I have them rate it. And then we go to the next one, the Cranberries, and just going in alphabetical order.
I like that.
So that they're learning music, and they're bored a lot of the time. But
I think that's not alphabetical order, though. I think you went out of turn.
I'd probably
there.
go on that.
Yeah.
But that was
Well,
the two.
I'm
At least I
confused.
stayed in the C's.
So, Abe, what have you done?
So, well, the music thing, I am proud to admit that my sons have totally taken after my taste in
Nice.
music.
Nicely done.
So my son loves, and it's a little bit frustrating for him because his friends will talk about all these rappers and things, and he's listening to Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin,
Yeah.
Death Cab, all these bands I love. And he
That's
loves
cool.
as well.
Death Cab stuff's so much more ominous when you don't put the for cutie at the end.
I know. I'm sorry. Yeah. But he loves these bands that I love, and my 12-year-old as well. And so they will go with their friends, and their friends will be talking music, and they just feel kind of
No, but they're
my
cultured.
friends.
They're truly cultured, though.
That's right.
But I worry about it too because I do the same thing where my kids. For example, I showed my son, Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Like it was just playing on the radio. He's like, "Who's this?" I'm like, "Oh, it's Michael Jackson. It's Beat It." And we listened to it, and then I said, "Let me show you some other songs by Michael Jackson." And he became obsessed with Michael Jackson. Like he wanted a CD, he wanted a poster, he wanted a costume so he could dress up as Michael Jackson for Halloween. And some other kids were telling him, "Michael Jackson's weird. Why would you like him?" And I kind of feel bad sometimes that my kids aren't listening to the most current stuff.
Well, his friends have a good point, honestly.
Well, he is. But at the same time, Michael Jackson was the coolest guy ever when I was a kid. Like I remember that, like just thinking he was so cool. And my son was around the same age when it happened, and I'm like, I'll let him have Michael Jackson. Let him be cool for a while. But he actually knows that he.
No, I think it's
The
foundation.
music's
right?
pretty timeless at this point.
It is so timeless. Like I remember when we were kids, Michael Jackson was the greatest thing ever until we turned 11, and then maybe he was a threat to us at that point, and it wasn't cool to like him anymore. And then I remember late teens, maybe 17 or 18, I rediscovered the music of Michael Jackson, and I was like, this is awesome. Why did I stop listening to this? And I'm glad I had that foundation as a kid.
Yeah. Well, and that's just it. So I want to expose my kids to all these. Just on our vacation this last time, we were up at the cabin, and we had an internet connection and Chromecast, but I wanted to use the VHS tapes. So I showed them just a bunch of Three Stooges cartoons. And I'm like, this is just something, kind of a basic knowledge you need to know. And they weren't into it at first, but by the end, they were like, can we watch another Three Stooges? And I'm like, parenting win. And I don't know if they'll continue to watch it or even like it anymore, but at least they have
At least they know, yeah.
at least they know the reference. And that's kind of what, I mean, Baconsale is all about. We have this like vast knowledge of stuff that really doesn't matter.
What do you
because
mean?
like music, movies, and TV.
You sound like me now.
But it's part of who we are. So that someone says a reference, I'm like, I get that.
Yes.
And I want my kids to be able to do that. But at the same time, I want them to apply their brains to more, science, technology, engineering, and math.
Well, and actually still, like you were saying, have social skills so they can, be among the other children. Yes.
Yeah. At the same time, I don't want my kids to have a at-length conversation about Nicki Minaj to
No.
their friends, I don't want that.
No, I want my kids to be able to judge other people for liking Nicki Minaj, but know enough to judge them.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
That's a good goal.
That's the goal right there, Ken.
I think that's the
enough to
takeaway.
judge them. Right? Yeah.
Yes.
You want your kids to know enough to judge other kids.
It's the Kent way.
Well, my kids are awesome at that.
Well, then
Done
you've
well.
succeeded as a
I
parent,
have. I
Abe.
really have. I feel good. I feel much better about myself after I've done it.
After hearing these guys?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, Abe, do you have any parting final thoughts or advice?
I have one story that I thought of when Joel was talking about making sure they're always watching you. I was home one day by myself, or so I thought, and I was playing a video game, and something went wrong. I think I was playing football, and I said a swear word, and my son popped up behind the couch and said, "Dad!" He had never heard me say anything like that. And I, to this day,
Wait, which son was this?
the 12-year-old.
The middle one?
Yeah.
The one you're having issues with.
Oh, we've got to the source of the problem. I think.
Here's the thing. He'll never forget that.
I know,
remember the
he'll
one time
never.
my dad swore.
Yeah, no, same
I
for
was
me.
mowing the
Yeah.
lawn and I ran into a tree he just planted and he swore and I was like, oh. And it's still right
Yeah.
now, like it happened yesterday.
Yeah, you'll never forget the first time you heard your dad swear. So I guess my takeaway is don't swear.
Don't swear. Or be careful you're actually alone. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Check over your shoulder.
Okay.
So there you
Look
go.
behind the couch.
Anything
Got
else,
it.
Abe? Anything you want to share? Anything you want to plug?
No, I want to say thanks because I feel like if I had only been invited once, then maybe I wasn't a great guest. But because I was invited back, that means that maybe I was at least average.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we'd say it was adequate.
Slightly
Yeah,
better than average.
Adequate?
Yeah.
Exactly.
We'd say it was good, but no, I'm just kidding. It was good. It was good. Sorry, I'm trying to tie it back around, but yeah.
No, we appreciate what I was going to say. Abe, we appreciate you being here once again to talk to us. And we appreciate you, the listener, for listening to this kind of different episode of Baconsale.
Sure.
It's one we've had in the pipe for a while because we knew when we found out that Jacob's wife's going to have a baby, we were like, we could do a parenting show. Because we like to expand and try new things. So we appreciate your patience with us as we try this kind of, and it's not going to become a regular thing. We're going to go back to kind of goofy stuff. As of next week, we already got our goofy show already prepared.
Oh gosh, do we?
But we wanted to make sure that, we entertain as we educate.
Yeah.
So I hope we did that today.
Baconsale.
But if you want to find me, you can find me at 76Joel on Twitter, or you can find me performing with Quickwits. They perform every Saturday night at the Midvale Performing Arts Center. For more details, go to qwcomedy.com or go to the Quickwits Facebook page.
If you want to find me on Twitter and Instagram, it's at Kenny3DD. If you want to read my movie reviews, it's ShowtimeShowdown.com.
You can find me on Twitter at Jacob A. Rogers, or better still, much, much wiser still, go find Abe Yospe on Twitter.
He's hilarious.
Cheeseboy, what is the full handle?
At Cheeseboy22.
At Cheeseboy22. Go right now, go on Twitter, look him up, follow him. And also, if you want some Bacon Sale merchandise, you know where to go, tpublic.com/baconsale. We got a lot of stuff there, and hopefully we'll even add some new things as well. If you want to become a patron of Bacon Sale and help us out, we'll really appreciate it. We really, really will. And you can get lots more content from Bacon Sale. We do videos, and there's lots of different things that you can get. And depending on what tier you go into, you can even request a show. So we don't usually mention that here, but that is one of the perks.
So until next time, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. I can't word swap, but I'm getting emotional. There was a lot of stalking. Bring me a phone! Why didn't you tell them they did good? That work was horrendous. That work was not any good at all. Ken says that to every one of his dates as I enjoyed watching you, and they just get creeped out.
Yeah, kids are dumb. They have no concept of time.
Here's a cardboard box. Draw a house inside. Boom, fun.
He went up into the urine tubes, as I like to call them.
Bloody Mary's our guest next week.
No opening the door and no starting fires.
Go get the gun, sweetie. This is how you skin a squirrel.
The tip is buy lots of poster board.
That seems mean, even for justice.
Is that why my girl's smoking already?
Well, it takes a big man to swallow their pride.
Are you calling
like
me fat?
that?
Takes a big man to swallow a Whopper, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
He did it.
To swallow a lot.
It hurt.
It's not you. It was Jason at school. It made me so mad. Because now I break dance for their kids, their friends. I wear bedazzled jeans. You name it.
I can be your hero, baby.
I wanted to be Batman in her eyes.
I'm going to find this funny, eventually. You want your kids to know enough to judge other kids.
It's the Kent way.
You'll never forget the first time you heard your dad swear.
So I may have done some light social media stalking.
Like a turd in the wind.
Stinky feet don't go where we eat.